Hey, what's up? Today is Sunday, so I figure I share. Today, start thanking God for the blessings that I've received. And, I'm not rich, and I am rich in certain ways, but not financially rich or with a whole bunch of luxuries or anything like that. But I'm rich because um, I feel like God helps me. He does things, he shows me things, he puts me in certain situations um, that help me out in life. It's like a blessing, what they call a blessing in disguise. Before I get into it, let me show y'all what's happening here today. I'm in my kitchen. I'm going to get out my kitchen, but let me show y'all what's going on here today. See, can I turn this camera around to my stove? You see, I got my lemons ready to be chopped up, my butter, put my garlic in there, and I got my corns. This is almost ready, so this live ain't gonna be long. I got some crab legs in here, the big ones, the big joints. Let me put that back down in there. Not that much seasoning, because I'm gonna do the butter thing. So I got a few crab legs in here. Let them cook a little while longer. So that's what's happening. I'm really supposed to be on my liquid diet, but what I'm waiting for is my karate suit. Because when I was younger, let me turn this camera back around and go back in my room. Turn back around. I'm not good with all this technology, but I'm going to catch up to the rest of y'all big time YouTubers that got the hooked up background, got your channel looking like a real news station and all of that stuff like that. Me, I'm just basically, I be going live from my bed. I work remote from home. I was blessed to get this job, and while this pandemic is going on, and make some money. You know what I'm saying? I never claimed to be rich or famous. You could look at how many views I get, how many people that be on my live, you know what I'm saying? But today is Sunday. My hair is always scroungy. I gotta get my hair done. My grays keep coming in, and I just dyed my hair not too long ago, you know. But I guess as you can see, I'm a woman of a particular age. So them grays is gonna keep peeking through there, and that's just what I have to live with. Okay, so let me just tell y'all. I wanna express this because I want you to look at your situation and evaluate your situation like that too. Because when you like read the Bible, and from reading the Bible, it's like they describe um, blessings and images of God coming out of the sky and all that stuff like that. But I take other things, I take other things, you take other little things and thank God. You might find some money on the ground and be, broke, and you found 20 ground, and you know what I'm saying, and you be like, thank you God. Or you got a new apartment, or you was able to buy a car, buy a house, you know what I'm saying, and you be like, this is all a blessing from God. You might have a beautiful voice and you sing, you know what I'm saying. You might have some success with your business or whatever the situation is, and things of value financial value, and people be thanking God and praising God, which they should. You know what I'm saying? But with me, in my life, my mother died when I was 3. So I'm just gonna get a little personal so that we could understand the situation. My mother died when I was 3. I had to stay with an aunt that was like very strict. So as I grew up, I really couldn't stand her. She had her own kids, and she had one of my blood sisters, that she raised. There was 5 of us in the house, right? And you know how kids are. We go in and out with beefing, and we have to be back speaking and stuff like that. So we used to do that growing up as kids a lot. You know what I'm saying? Nothing serious. That's just some in-house, stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when I became 14, and my sister became she graduated from high school, and she left from my aunt that was raising us with her kids. And once she left, I felt alone. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like I needed to get up out of there too. You know what I'm saying? So she had us like in Savannah, Georgia. Like she moved us from New York. That was another thing, to Savannah, Georgia. And I really didn't care for the move. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like the South, and still for that reason today, because I was around 12 when she took us down there, and I was like in my junior high school years, and cityfied. You know what I'm saying? So when I got down south, I couldn't stand like the dirt roads or anything. She was strict. She was putting us under punishment. She used to beat us, throughout our life growing up, or whatever the situation was. And which but I always did, appreciate the fact that she took me in and kept a roof over my head, fed me and everything like that. And and took me in, because I could have went to some foster family. I stayed within the my blood, around my blood family. So I am appreciative. I don't want to seem like I'm not appreciative, but I always felt like she did it for the checks. You know what I'm saying? Because she was getting checks every month for me and my sister, or whatever the situation was. And I guess it was, I guess it is, because I only have one child. So to take, to have your own 3 kids and take on, 2 more kids, you know what I'm saying, and have 5 kids, that's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't really understand all that stuff till you get older. Right? So I grew up, because she was strict and beaten all the time, like, I mean, a bad note from school. The way the teachers used to write bad notes and send you home with a note that have to be signed by your parent. You used to get a beating for that, every little thing. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like every week. You know what I'm saying? Um, or every other week. You know what I'm saying? So, and she used to beat with our clothes off, no clothes on. She used to tell you to find a belt, the strap, and take all your clothes off. Sometimes she used to line us all up. Everybody was getting a beating. You know what I'm saying? Naked, butt naked. Everybody, boys and girls, clothes off. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't wait till I got 18. That's all we used to say. I can't wait till I get 18 to get up out of here, or whatever, what have you. Anyway, when my sister graduated, we was in Savannah, Georgia, and then she left, and she came back up to New York. So I didn't feel right. I didn't feel right at all. I felt by myself with my cousins and with my mean aunt. You know what I'm saying? So she looked at me, and we just like made this eye contact, and she automatically sent me, get upstairs to your room. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what I did. I grabbed the broom, like I was ready to fight. I was upset, and she grabbed me by my neck and choked me, and she scratched my neck. So immediately, automatically, she was like, um, she was taking me down to a juvenile hall, right? So I didn't even like the South. and she drove me deep. You know what I'm saying? It was like deep in the woods, like, hours away, and we pulled up to this building, and these parents was coming in with these like crazy looking, retarded looking kids, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was just a little skinny, little light skinned, little buck tooth little kid, you know what I'm saying? And I was petrified. So we walked in there, and I seen like kids behind bars, like in cells, and they took us in the office. And when my aunt explained to the lady what was going on, the lady said that I didn't qualify to be a juvenile or in that facility because that facility was more for like battered kids and runaways. So she had to take me back home. So when she took me back home, I contacted my older sister that was in New York that was running the organizations, and she paid for a flight. And I had a friend. She said, just make your flight, get to the airport. And I had a friend, and with a car, a little boyfriend with a car. Because, down there when you're young, they start driving very, very early. You know what I'm saying? So at this time, I'm 14. So my little boyfriend might have been like 16 or 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Um, I wasn't having sex or anything. I don't even think I sexed him or nothing like that. I don't think so. Um, he was just a nice looking guy. He had a vehicle and a nice family. I remember visiting him one time before. So I called him up and I said, listen, I need to get to the airport. I have to get up out of here. So he said, okay, I'll take you to the airport. And then my male cousin, which I'm going to be talking about how this blessing came to be about, he cashed a $10 check and gave my boyfriend gas money to get to the airport, and that's his mother I'm running away from. So he gave the $10, but I had packed up all of this stuff. I had on penny loafers, I had a blazer, and I stole my birth certificate and my social security card out of my aunt's drawer so that I could have all my documents and everything like that. I mean, like, it's like I thought I was sneaking and I thought I was sneaky, but it's probably obvious that they knew because I packed up all my stuff out the closet, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm in there sliding, the important papers. Well, the paperwork was on the dresser. So she must have knew something, so she must have left it there for me. I didn't even have to go in the drawer. I just went in her room and looked, and my birth certificate and social security card was on the dresser. So the next day, when it was time for me to go, I, um, I got on. It's hot out, but I'm going to the airport, so I'm figuring the plane is going to be cold and stuff. So I got on my blazer and I got on penny loafers and or whatever the situation I used to wear back then. And I caught the flight and I came back to New York. When I got back to New York, it was like I was so thankful that my sister had, got me up out of that situation, because she was doing pretty okay, living in pretty decent neighborhoods. It was the best I've lived, for my whole life, living up in Riverdale and stuff like that, living in white communities and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So, but even with that, like I said, my mother passed when I was 3, so even I used to get into it with my sisters, and they would kick me out, and I would go here, go to this sister house. She kicked me out, go to this my cousin's house, and I used to be pillow to post, pillow to post. I started hanging out, running around in the streets and stuff like that. So I had friends, and I started hustling in the street, and having little crack houses and stuff. I used to hustle and be in there, drinking and getting high and hustling at the same time. And when I'm kicked out, I used to go to my best friend's house, and we just used to be sometime hanging out all night. You know what I'm saying? So that was my struggles, and then eventually I got pregnant. I got pregnant, and that's it. I called it quits with the streets. You know what I'm saying? I had my own, got my own apartment because my family was into the construction, and I was able to get a construction job and land a apartment. And so once I had got pregnant, I let the streets know that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be out here hanging out anymore. Anybody that owe me any money or anything like that, don't worry about it. You don't owe me nothing. I'm pregnant. This is like a serious and scary situation because I never really wanted to be pregnant or have a child because I really wasn't really into men. And, I know that I was gay inside and I was hiding in the closet with the situation. So I used to just date like the other females, around and stuff like that, and date with guys and stuff like that. But I really wasn't interested in them really. I was really interested in females. You know what I'm saying? Very pretty females. You know what I'm saying? So end up getting pregnant and left the streets alone. And but when I had turned 18, I skipped a part. I skipped over a part because what I do want to say is when I turned 18, I applied for housing, public housing, the projects. I said, I don't know when I'm going to need this. I'm going to apply for housing and I'm going to apply for Section 8. So I applied, and when I got pregnant, I was, I think, about 23. I know I had my child at 24, you know what I'm saying? So 9 months of pregnancy or whatever the situation is. So, um, whatchamacallit, somehow I lost my apartment. I ended up staying with a friend, going uptown to move with my cousin, and I remember holding on to a room. I kept paying for a room, paying this guy for a room in his house. And then I finally found my paperwork. My sister, we was on the house, and I went to her house, and she was hiding uh, in her drawer and stuff like that. So I guess she wasn't going to give it to me, but I found the envelope. That's how mean we are to each other. So I found the envelope. That was one blessing right there. That I went over to her house. She wasn't there, and for some reason I pulled the drawer open, and I seen the envelope with my name on it, and it was from housing. I said, I think this is my apartment. But when I filled out for housing, I filled out for um, a job too. To work for housing or to get an apartment for housing or for Section 8. Section 8 and projects application was identical, and then you could apply for a job. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. My job application, the job could have contacted too, but she wasn't. We used to go in and out speaking and be evil, towards each other. I wouldn't do that to them, hold their paperwork back, but she did to me. I went over to her house, looked in her little side, nightstand drawer, and it was just sitting there pretty, and I picked it up. I said, this is mine, so I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? Got my name on, open it, and that was housing. I called housing. So she said, yeah, we've been looking for you for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, it took me a while, and, eventually I got my apartment. But after I had my baby, I had to get, like back to work and stuff like that. So went back to the organization. It wasn't my family organization. My family was, out of the business. My sister was no longer doing that anymore. She was, working regular jobs. That's another story. And so I got down with another Spanish organization. And so I said, instead of waiting online for like everybody else for a job, I'll do the cleanup because I knew how to do the cleanup from my family doing post construction cleanup. So so the gentleman that was running that organization said he don't deal with that, so he didn't want to deal with it. So he was telling me no. So I asked him 3 times over, and he finally said yeah. So I started up Dustbusters, my company Dustbusters, and so I was doing that, and it was basically cleaning after construction. The construction is done, and the construction workers used to have the toilet shitty and the tub shitty sometime. It was just like a horrible job, but it was like a good hustle. If I wanted to buy me a little hoopty or, put a little money in my pocket, I used to, take my daughter out, you know what I'm saying, and shopping and stuff like that. It was a little hustle to, survive and hustle money. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't going to make me rich, but it was a little business. I was turning revenue. I was living in the project. So I felt all right about that. You know what I'm saying? About myself with that, that I was doing business. You understand what I'm saying? I was conducting business. I even was able to expand and open up, move the business from my house to a storefront. When I opened up that storefront, a lot of people became jealous of me. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I didn't realize the jealousy that was around me until I received a loan. I applied for SBA loan from the government. The Small Business Administration gave me a small little loan, and I was able to open up the store. And a lot of people got jealous of me. But what I didn't realize is that some of my same very cousins that I grew up with was jealous of me when I came to New York because my sister was getting money running her company, her organization, and security business and stuff. And she used to put these sheepskins on me and the hat to match, and long shearlings and gloves and mittens and all of that stuff to match, and all of these ski suits, whole pieces she used to order from somewhere out the magazine or whatever the situation, from real ski places and stuff like that. And she used to like have me fly, but I didn't know that anybody was like being jealous of my situation, you know what I'm saying, until I had this business and I opened up this store. And even my local community. That's why I say with us black people, we got to start looking out for one another, you know what I'm saying, and supporting each other businesses and stuff like that, because, they kind of like boycotted my business. You understand what I'm saying? The racism I felt wasn't from white people. The white people is the contractors that I was sitting down signing the contracts with. You know what I'm saying? Who I was getting the work from, and you know what I'm saying, and getting checks from, and the people that was jealous and trying to stop my business was my own people. You know what I'm saying? And I opened up a store right around the corner from my projects, so niggas started like um, that's when the Bloods came and they was wearing red, and I wasn't getting down with none of that because I wasn't no kid no more, and I didn't have to deal with that when I was a kid, join no gang, and so I wasn't going to do it, as an older person, you know what I'm saying? So, um, I kind of caught flack, behind that too, you know what I'm saying? But I had lost my business, right? And lost the store. I didn't survive because the loan that they gave me wasn't, even enough. It was just like a small $30,000 loan. It wasn't covering my overhead. My rent was like 1,500 a month, and I had to fix up the store. It was a little shack, and I had to put a lot of money into the store and buy my office equipment and stuff like that. So when I lost my store, I went back to the organization, just to start, I guess working again and just being regular like everybody else, and had to hang around and hang out. But when I came back, they wasn't really accepting me because I guess my absence, and I had the store, and I didn't realize how, you know, um, they was waiting, kind of waiting for me to come back, to lose my business and come back, because I wasn't getting no more cleaning contracts. It was like every time I go to a site, you know, where they usually let me on, you know, niggas was doing security from the organization, and blocking me from coming onto the site to meet with the super to make the deal, or anything. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even get on the sites no more. You know what I'm saying? So I said, damn. So I come back, and it was like they was out to get me. You know what I'm saying? So something jumped off between organizations, because organizations used to fight against each other, and somebody had got hurt and ended up in the hospital, right? And so they had this meeting. It ended up in the newspaper and everything. So I said, let me go to the next meeting. Let's see what's going on. Is everything okay? Because I knew the guy who got hurt and everything like that. So I go to the meeting, and mind you, I had an operation in my kidney. So I wasn't looking for a job. You know what I'm saying? I was just there to see if everything is okay, blase, blase. So I go there, and the guy that runs the organization is locked up, and his wife is running it. So she felt like I should be kicked out. So they kicked me out, and I'm like, wow, I wasn't even here for a job. You know what I'm saying? So right there, now I'm kicked out. That means I can't get no job. I can't get no contracts through them or anything like that. And I depended solely on the organizations to get work. And my cousin was sitting up there in there that I grew up with, one of my male cousins. He was that his mother raised me. And I guess because I had the disregard for his mother and how she was like real strict or whatever the situation was, um, he had I had like animosity against me. I ran away from his mother, came up to stay with my sister. I was getting fly and everything, and well, that's why she was raising me. And then once she kicked me out, then I started struggling, or whatever the situation is. But from the time I had my store till I came back to the organization, it was like he was sitting up in there, and they was kicking me out and lifting him up. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess he been around, or whatever the situation is. I guess he was cooler. He was the more accepted person. So I said, okay, I'm going home. And when I went home, I was real angry. I was real upset because, I mean, I was faithful to this organization. Wouldn't miss a meeting. Every Thursday was a meeting. I would come to the meeting, and it was my vessel for getting work. You understand what I'm saying? Even though my background is clean and everything like that, um, I could have got, excuse me, other city jobs, which I did after I left. Um, I went to work for the police department. I worked traffic in 2007. Yeah, in 2007, I worked for police department for 2 years. I got hit by a car, hurt my back, so I was laid up, right? But when I got my first housing apartment, it was down 180th Street down there. You know, like I said, they formed the Bloods. The Bloods had came heavy. That was around in the 90s. And the Bloods, all the kids started, all the bad kids started joining the Bloods and everything like that. And I'm trying to conduct a business and this, that, and the other. The community wasn't backing me and supporting me, so I lost my business. And then it was real stressful. I couldn't, move around comfortable because it was like me against this gang. You know what I'm saying? And then I got my apartment. I got a 2 bedroom. They had me and my daughter in the small 1 bedroom for a long time. So finally my 2 bedroom came in. So I moved uptown. So I said, well, the niggas uptown should be more mature and more about their business. You know what I'm saying? These ugly little niggas down in the South Bronx. You know what I'm saying? You know, they just, miserable people. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I'd come uptown and everything be cool. So for the first few years, everything was cool. And then all of a sudden I started getting, like I said, that organization put me out. I couldn't get no work. I was real upset. I worked for the police department. Then I got hit by a car, so I was laid up. My back was hurt. I couldn't work. So I was laid up you know, for a while. You know what I'm saying? Just going to pain management and different things like that. So all of a sudden, it was like my cousin that I grew up with. Like he just wanted to, like, he was living in Queens, and yeah, we grew up in the Bronx. So he know niggas in different neighborhoods, and everywhere I go, he was just like set niggas up against me. I'm like, I couldn't understand why is that. They kicked me out the organization, so I said, at least I could go home. At least I got an affordable apartment. So that was important. I wasn't ass out on the street. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't getting no more jobs. But with housing, if with Section 8 and projects, your rent is adjustable. If you're working, your rent go high. If you ain't got no job, if you're on welfare, public assistance, they'll pay it. Whatever your income is, it goes according to that. So I knew when I had got that loan and opened up that store, somebody told me, get a house and buy a house. But I said, let me see how things go first because I want to expand my business. Soon as I expand my business, niggas got jealous. I wasn't getting no more contracts, because the go-between was the organization because they was already putting niggas on construction sites and stuff like that. So, I used that to get the contracts, and that's the only way I was getting contracts was through that. So when they decided that they wasn't going to allow me to they was going to stop my show, you know what I'm saying, and knock down my business, they wasn't going to let me on those sites no more. It was up to me to try to find another way to get some jobs and stuff like that, which that was the only way I knew. You know what I'm saying? So you know now I know for my business, don't depend on somebody else's business totally. You understand what I'm saying? To help you with your business, because when they decide that they don't want to help you no more, then your whole business, your whole foundation is going to fall apart. So when you open up a business, you have to build a strong foundation that nobody can't shake, that nobody else can't knock it down. You understand what I'm saying? So you might, if somebody's helping you get work or get contracts or whatever the situation is, make sure you have several different avenues to get work. Because I only had that one avenue. So, but what what messed my head up was that my cousin was over there and he was like, I got kicked out and then I came home and I was, I still got a roof over my head, but I'm upset because it's like, you got blackballing me, outcasting me, everything is my fault. You know how somebody has to take the fall. And come to find out, my cousin was behind this shit the whole time to knock me down because he was jealous of the situation. I guess when I had my store, niggas at the organization saying like, "Oh man, you know, Sometimes we call ourselves sisters and brothers. Your sister got, because we grew up in the same house, so niggas probably was just like teasing him. Your sister got her own business, uh, she got her own storefront and all that stuff, and she got her own cleaning business and stuff like that. So when I lost the store and stuff like that, he was so happy. When I came back to the organization and they kicked me out and they kept him, you know, he felt like he had a leg up on me and stuff like this. So I was like, I couldn't understand because I wouldn't do nothing like that, mainly in the streets, to anybody that I grew up in the same household with, right? So I just wanted to go home, raise my daughter, be left alone. I'm gonna survive. However, gonna survive. The organization's not gonna look out for me no more. I have to find my own way. So, you know, all of a sudden he started coming around. Like I moved from downtown to uptown. Niggas was bloods down there, or running around my apartment down there, around my building. I didn't have no peace down there, and then I came uptown, and I didn't know nobody. I wasn't saying nothing to nobody, so nobody knew me. So it's no reason for me to have any kind of goddamn beef. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder why niggas is, all of a sudden they start mean mugging and acting like they got beef with me, like they was ready to fight. Not females, niggas, you know what I'm saying? And they all was wearing their reds and they was all doing their hand signs and stuff. And I tell the story in a lot in other videos too. But what I want to express today, I think my crab legs is ready. I might have to turn off this pot. So I'm gonna walk to the kitchen. I hope a lot of people see this video because I'm long winded, but I'm gonna get to it. Let's turn this around and let's see how our crab legs is going. Cause I'm getting ready to end this story. I'm getting ready to end this story so I could eat my crab legs and my corn. Yeah, that should be good enough. And then I got some butter right here and my lemons waiting to be cut up and stuff, My spoon is breaking apart. Okay, so we'll let that go for a little while longer. Cut this camera back around. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, so it was, you know, the good thing was that I filled out that application. Long story short, when I was 18, I filled out the application for housing. I was in the projects. Yes, I wanted better for myself, but my mother passed away when I was 3, so you know what I'm saying. I didn't have that backup support when I had my child or anything like that, or when niggas kicked me out of they houses. I couldn't go back to my mother's house. My mother passed when I was 3, so I was from pillar to post. So life was kind of scary for me. I used to get these little apartments, expensive apartments when I was working construction, but I couldn't hold them down because sometimes you have a construction job and sometimes you don't. I started my own business and everything was fine when I was working from inside of my apartment. And then when I got a little government loan, you know, and expanded. I had a big awning up that said Dustbusters. All the niggas from the organization was jealous. I think my family was jealous of me or whatever. Like, they wasn't coming in the store to help or support. You know how the Puerto Ricans get together and they help each other out and support each other's, they all be up in that grocery store and stuff. It wasn't like that. I was in there by myself. I had one guy that used to come in there and chit chat and talk with me and stuff like that and help me sometime on the weekends and stuff. And I started doing auditioning artists, rappers and stuff like that. I built a stage inside of there and stuff like that because, for some reason I wasn't getting no cleaning business no more. So I started thinking about doing stage shows and stuff like that. And but what it came down to was that the organization was turning on me and they was waiting for me to lose my place and come back, and then they kicked me out. And then my own cousin was there, and it upset me because I felt like he was all a part of the scam and the scheme. Anyway, I said that's fine. No big deal. I'm gonna just go home and figure out my life and how I'm gonna survive from here because I don't have that support where I could go over there and get a job no more. Or I can't go around to the construction job sites and say I'm down with them no more. And, the contractors give me cleanup and stuff like that. I was out, you know what I'm saying? Blackballed out, kicked out, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm home and I'm wondering why I'm having so much flack in the street. You know what I'm saying? So I'm having a lot of flack in the street. With the Bloods and stuff, I didn't join, but I'm older. So what that got to do with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is these kids being very disrespectful? Well, come to find out, my cousin that I grew up with, he was sicking niggas on me. He was setting that whole situation up out in the street. So every time I come out my building, niggas is mean mug and niggas I never met before, never been introduced before, never hung out with them before, nothing. You know what I'm saying? He set me up to be um, bullied basically, by this gang. And it's not wasn't no, I mean, anybody could have kicked my ass. I'm walking around with my daughter. I'm walking around, my daughter had a daughter. My daughter even grew older. It took place for so long. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he had anger in his heart against me and he wanted to pay me back. But what have I done to you? I haven't done anything to him other than, I had a lot of animosity about growing up, his mother raising me and punishing and beating me and this, that, and other, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like stayed away from the family. I wasn't going to family reunions and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And me and him, we used to kick it sometime and hang out in the clubs and stuff back in the days and stuff or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And, he lived where he lived and, had a place in Queens with some lady or whatever the situation is. And I'm in here in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? Struggling or whatever the situation is. And, he's still getting jobs. So you should be fine. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't good enough. Niggas started coming around my house to let niggas know that I was kicked out from some organization in the South Bronx. So that to say that I'm blackball, I mean, these niggas up here wasn't even construction workers. You might have one out the building or two out the building. Most of these niggas is like hustling or doing other things or whatever the situation is. So it didn't pertain to them. You know what I'm saying? It was none of their business. You know what I'm saying? So whatchamacallit, you know, since I was kicked out and he was staying at the organization, I guess that means no support, no backup for me, and all the backup was for him. You know what I'm saying? Like if anything jump off or whatever the situation is, he had backup with the organization, and he started telling niggas in the street that I was kicked out, and he pinned himself against me. Like what man pins themselves against a woman? Anyway, my whole family was like sided with him. All the streets was sided with him. So I used to be laying up in my house like, what is going on with me? You know what I'm saying? What did I do? I've always been like the shy type when I was a kid. When they got up to, dance and, we had family gatherings, I was the shy one. I didn't want to dance, you know, I wasn't no fighter. I wasn't kicking nobody ass. When I was younger, I was like, when I was a teenager, until I got pregnant, I was like 120 pounds. I couldn't even get past 120 pounds, so I was a skinny girl. You know what I'm saying? So it dawned on me one day. I was just laying on my back on my pillow in my bed one day, and I said, "This is nothing but God. This is nothing but God because I did not have one person on my side, all my family, even the one sister that I was talking to. She had my sister, God bless her soul. She died from she had lupus and she had cancer. But being that she grew up with this male cousin and they went to high school together and all that stuff like that, she still used to nag me over the phone here I am trying to keep company with her because she's sick, and spend hours every day on the phone with her because I wasn't working. I got hurt from the I had a job with traffic and hurt my back. I got hit by a car, and so I was out like disabled. You know what I'm saying? And even the sister that I was talking to regularly, trying to help her and keep her company because she was sick. She used to nag and snag and tease me over the phone, like, nah, you're not doing good. Yeah, I mean, everybody was like against me. I didn't have nobody on my side. So I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? I have not done anything but struggled all my life. You understand what I'm saying? I have not, my mother died when I was 3. Why do I deserve this? You know what I'm saying? My brothers, my real brothers, you know, I got 2 brothers that got killed in the street, 2 or 3 brothers that got killed in the street, and one died from cancer. I got 2 sisters that passed away from cancer. And now I got one sister left for me. That one sister was against me too. My older sister, the one that sent for me from when I was 14. Yeah, she had turned on me too. That's another story. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, and I was laying up in here when I needed somebody, even my friends I used to hang out with, nobody. Well, not that they knew where I was at or anything like that, but I had no one. When I say no one at all, I had no one. Even my daughter used to be looking at me and rolling her eyes like she was upset with me because the whole family was against me, and that included her too because she was my child. So my daughter used to be upset with me. So the only really person that I had was my daughter's daughter, my grandbaby, that was a baby that didn't know anything that was going on, and I was just pampering her, raising her, help raising her and taking care of her and stuff like that. So she didn't know anything. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the only person I had was a baby. No adult, you know, friendship or communications. I had to stop hanging out in the street, stop coming out after dark. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas was in gangs. Like, you would think that niggas, put together a gang to fight other gang. No, all of the organizations, all of the gangs, the Bloods was making friends with the Crips, and everybody was together except for me. So I'm like, why is everybody friends and together? My cousin out here making up with every beef and joining forces with every nigga in the street. But when it came down to me, I had to be like the outcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted to have like a leg up on me. Like, so there had to be some jealousy from the past, or he wanted to feel like he was maybe better looking than me. And if you look at it in that light, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, when a woman grows older, you know what I'm saying? She loses her looks or whatever the situation is. Black women got nappy hair, but black men got nappy hair too. Niggas is ugly too, but they don't get put down for they ugly because women don't want pretty men. You understand what I'm saying? They want a harder looking man so that when they walk down the street, they want to feel like protected. So a ugly looking man, your face could be burned up like Seal, the singer Seal, it could be all munched up and everything like that. Niggas that skinny, fat, short, tall, dark skin, light skin, they all get women. you know there's plenty of women that that different type of men is their types. But when it come down to women, when we start getting older past 30, we're ugly, we nappy headed hoes, and you know what I'm saying, When black women get to a certain age and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Niggas just start dissing. You know what I'm saying? Niggas that couldn't fuck with us when we was in our youth. You couldn't fuck with me when I was in my youth, even with my buck teeth. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty. I was always beautiful. Like my skin was always beautiful. I didn't have bump. The only thing I did have was like little dark rings under my eyes or whatever the situation was. But for some reason, my cousin wanted to follow me around. He got with a woman that already had a house, moving to her house and married her. You know what I'm saying? So now he was running around saying he live in a house, and like I live in the projects, and he competing his whole life with me. Like, okay, so they accept him at the organization and kick me out. You know what I'm saying? So he was like competing instead of competing with another nigga, or when we was growing up, he used to always get into fights and get his ass kicked, right? One punch and a nigga knock him down and the fight be over. That's how his fights used to be. So if you got backup now, instead of competing with me, a female that you grew up with, I was the youngest one in the household. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you joined the Bloods to fight with your little sister. You know what I'm saying? Um, Instead of using that power that you now have, all that backup you have now for them niggas that used to put you on your ass when you was younger, you know what I'm saying? He turned on me, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point, my family from back in 70s, 80s, and all of that stuff like that was the big organization. We had to back up. I used to back him up. I used to tell niggas not to fuck with him, because he was my brother or he's my cousin, you know, and I used to back niggas off and, let niggas know, so I used to protect him when the power was in my possession. Now that the power, he's got the backup and the powers in his possession. He turned on me to like just form everything, every gang, every nigga, against one woman. And then I had my grandbaby, and my grandbaby was born. I'm walking up and down with her in a stroller, going to get Pampers and food and juice and shit. And niggas just used to be like packed outside, mean mugging, and they red clothes and gang hand signals, and uh, every time I walk by, they want to make a phone call and call my cousin and all of that shit and talk shit about me, And I was struggling. I was like, you know, I had injured my back from work, so I was home. I wasn't getting no money, and I was going to pay management to my doctors, and you know, they paid a lot of attention to me when I was, down. You know what I'm saying? When I had that store, when the government gave me that small business loan, nobody wanted to look. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying, like, God, I'm laying on my back, like, what is going on with me? Why is this happening to me? Why is my cousin that I grew up with in the same household picking on me and bullying me and chasing me around everywhere I live to make trouble for me when he lived in Queens and I live everywhere I moved, he wanted to find niggas that he know, tell them to create a gang in front of my door, underneath my window, and just harass me all the time. I'm like, God, why is this? Why am I going through this? And I found myself having nobody, not one person, nobody on my side. Everybody was bigging him up, right? Everybody was siding with him. Everybody was glad to see me down. And it dawned on me, and I saw the big picture. The picture was, you have nothing. Yeah, you have a roof over your head, so you're not in the street, but you have nobody. I was at a point I had nobody. Body. Nobody. Nobody, because he formulated and had the little Bloods gang. So anybody who came to hang out with me, I guess, would have been up against what I was up against. So nobody loved me enough. Nobody was friends with me enough. No woman, because I'm a female and I had all this problem with all these niggas. I didn't have problems with women out there. They were just standing back. You know what I'm saying? And, the mothers of these guys and stuff like that, they was just letting them stand out there until, the feds started coming around to the projects and locking up all of the gang members or whatever the situation is, and giving them long bids, and they was taking 100 niggas at a time, and they took a lot of niggas from my projects. That's what calmed the shit down, but it took a long time for that to come. You understand what I'm saying? So I was going through this shit for like 10 years in this development, in my prior development another 10 years. So it was a long time, and I had questioned God. But then when I said, well, let me just look for the answer. And when it dawned on me, it was like God was showing me that, when I was down, I didn't have anybody. So like right now, I'm working, I'm getting a little money, and I said, you know what? I didn't have no friends when I wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? When I was down, everybody was happy to see me down. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was snagging and teasing and kicking their feet and rolling their eyes and mean mugging. They was giving me every gesture, but I would keep a straight face because I couldn't fight all of these people. I couldn't say, what the fuck you looking at, nigga? What the fuck you looking at me like that for? A nigga would have knuckled me down or whatever the situation is. And so many niggas were standing outside angry and waiting for the action. They probably would have still jumped me, even though I'm an older grandmother and a female. So our brothers, our men, we have to get it together. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We really have to get it together. But the blessing, and I thank God over and over and repeat it, because when my family was on, back in the 70s and 80s, and my family was very generous towards people, looking out for people financially and helping paying rents and giving them jobs, and we were so giving and everything like that. But when we was down, when I was down, you understand what I'm saying? Um, Everybody was running around, dancing around, wearing new sneakers, buying new clothes, pointing me out as a bum and pointing at me when I go by and nagging and teasing. I lost I had a little truck. I was walking for a good amount of years and stuff. I wasn't even driving and walking up and down. I wasn't shopping for clothes or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And niggas was just like snagging and teasing and snagging and teasing me and nagging and you know. But the blessing was that I don't need to be around those people because they wasn't nothing but cokeheads anyway. When I was hanging out in the bars and stuff with them, we were sniffing cocaine and doing a lot of drinking liquor. You know what I'm saying? And I already had a kidney operation, so I didn't really need, I came to terms that I didn't need to be hanging out with those people anyway. You understand what I'm saying? When it came down to the employment and the jobs, I understand I had to go out there and get it on my own while everybody else is at the organization standing online and backstabbing each other for, and, trying to kiss up and kiss ass for jobs and stuff like that. I have to stand, you know, by myself on my 10 toes and get it on my own. So I had to pull up out of the hole by myself. But I thank God for something that a lot of people would not see in their lifetime. And they would not see that people that they are looking out for right now would be people that if you didn't have nothing, they wouldn't give you shit. They would sit there and tease you and watch you starve And if it wasn't for housing, and I praise, housing too, where other people put the projects down, I praise housing because if it wasn't for housing, all those people would have, left me to live in a cardboard box. I would have been homeless, homeless. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody, I couldn't believe how they wanted to see me down. So I thank God over and over and over again. And I couldn't believe where I was at. I was out there by myself with nobody. When I didn't have no job, my back was hurting. My family, niggas in the street that I never even was introduced, that never even known. You understand what I'm saying? Was hating and ready to, hurt me, kill me. Niggas was jumping from behind walls and playing war games and all kind of stuff, and I wasn't playing. I left the streets a long time ago when I was pregnant with my baby, so I wasn't trying to get back to that. You understand what I'm saying? So that was my blessing that God had showed me that I was down and I didn't have anybody else. So right now, I have a little job and I got a company and stuff like that, but I owe nobody nothing. Because when I was down, nobody, I'm not even talking financially, but I'm saying nobody would even come and hang around me and keep me company. All right? So that was my blessing. And, I want y'all to count your blessings in that way too, where God is putting you in a situation, a blessing in disguise. Okay? Not necessarily financial blessings, but I could only work my way up from here. But I know that when it boiled down to it, I don't have nobody but me and God. So thank you, God, for showing me that. And that's all I have to say. I hope y'all see your blessings too.